If you had to flee a relationship when it had broken down, you'd hope you'd have somewhere safe to go. These women say they don't and claim the crisis accommodation on offer is appalling or virtually non-existent.
I've fallen through every crack that the system has.
I think we need an impact change.
I just felt like I was so trapped.
I called the numbers, I reached out, but at every turn there were just doors shut.
Scared and alone, Amanda Allen says she's been let down by the system she desperately needed to help her.
It was the most distressing experience on top of already being so utterly eroded.
At nearly 50 years of age, Amanda prides herself on her strength and character.
I want to get it done, see what happens.
A 3-time CrossFit world champion, but now she feels broken.
I'm a smart woman and I did not understand that that's what I was going through.
Tonight, the women speaking out after risking it all to leave their relationships only to be left in the lurch.
I definitely don't feel safe staying there.
We need to bring those standards up, especially the support. When you leave that domestic violence relationship, you need that initial support.
I had about 30 minutes to take what I could and put it in my van and leave with my dogs.
Amanda Allen left a relationship she felt powerless in. She is now homeless, living in her van with her 2 dogs. For months, she's been trying every avenue to get help, but says she keeps getting knocked back.
On a technicality, we can't help you. Oh, you're not homeless enough, you've got dogs.
She was told the only way to get help would be to part with her beloved animals.
We are a 24/7 arrangement. They are my life and the meaning and purpose that has held me here. I tick every box for support and I could not access a single thing.
At that time, you need that comfort, you need that support, and it wasn't there.
Natalie Hinton knows too well how the system fails the vulnerable. Her daughter, Tara Brown, was murdered by her ex-partner nearly 5 years ago.
There were no black eyes, there were no broken bones, but it was this coercive control that he had over her.
Tara had fled to a refuge days earlier.
She was happy to be safe, but the refuge was not in great standards. It was dirty. She felt alone, there was no support there.
And 5 years on, it appears not much has changed.
I wasn't thinking, I was praying that this wasn't going to be it. I was praying that they just made a mistake and I'm at the wrong hotel.
Sam, who is too scared to reveal her identity, fled her violent relationship. She's just 20 and ended up in crisis accommodation provided by a domestic violence group.
What was your first reaction when you walked into the room?
It was not only depressing, but it was filthy. The blanket I had was a sleeping bag that looked like they found on the street.
She filmed these videos to show the state of her room, a mouldy shower, microwave and fridge with filth covering the floor. To add to the trauma, Sam says homeless people loiter out the front, making sexual suggestions towards the women staying there.
Do you feel safe staying there?
I don't feel comfortable around that. I don't feel safe. I feel like I'm gonna get robbed if I leave my hotel room. It's very hard. Just knowing that you have nothing and then getting treated like nothing is probably the hardest thing I think anybody could do.
Domestic and family violence is the leading cause of homelessness for women and children in Australia.
Naomi Fitzner is a postdoctoral research fellow at Monash University.
The temporary nature of the accommodation that's been offered has been really problematic, and what we need now is more funding to provide permanent safe housing options for women.
But the system, sadly, hasn't been able to keep up. A Senate inquiry into domestic violence was set up in February, just days after Brisbane mother Hannah Clark and her children were murdered by her ex-husband. At the time, Tracy Grimshaw sat down with Hannah's family.
Did you ever think that he would hurt his kids? I didn't think he'd hurt the kids.
No.
She was concerned he would kill her.
Yeah.
And I believe that could be impossible.
But the inquiry was wrapped up 3 months early without taking any submissions or public hearings.
Not all domestic abuse is physical, and mental's probably one of the hardest ones to pick up on.
I want small steps. We know it's not going to happen overnight.
We tend to forget that they are still going on every week. It's at least one woman a week.
Natalie, who now cares for her granddaughter, created the Tara Brown Foundation after her death to raise money to help refugees.
I don't think it's something that we're ever going to eliminate, but it's certainly something that we can bring these numbers down.
She still wants more to be done to protect victims, but wants them to know they're not alone.
Please find the strength to make that call, to reach out to someone, and trust that you will get the help that you need.
And if you or someone you know is in a domestic violence situation and needs help, contact 1-800-RESPECT. The details on your screen now. And if you head to our website, you'll also find more on the Tara Brown Foundation and Small Steps for Hannah.